Buonasera a tutti. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I am going to show you how to make zucchini fritters. We're going to start with 3 zucchini and some green onions or scallions, and I will show you what we do to make delicious zucchini fritters that everybody's going to love. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grate the zucchini, and I have my KitchenAid. This is the faster way to do it. And I'm going to just grate the zucchini into a bowl. Get all that out of there. There we go. And the next step is we're going to take it over to the sink and we're going to squeeze the zucchini. We're going to squeeze the water out of the zucchini. Alrighty, so we have our grated zucchini, if you can see that. And what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the moisture out of it. Okay, so we're just going to take a handful of it, hold it over the sink, and I don't know if you can see that, but the water is coming out. And we're just going to put it aside. Take another handful, and we're going to continue to do that until all the water is out. Now, you can skip this step if you want. I choose not to. If you do skip this step, you're going to need to add more flour, and it becomes a little bit doughier than I prefer. So I choose not to skip this step, and it takes really a short amount of time just to squeeze the moisture out. Zucchini is a very high moisture food, and that's it. So we're good. And to that, we're going to add the zucchini back into the bowl, and we're going to add some spices to that. So what we're going to add is a tiny bit of oregano. Again, oregano is a strong spice. So I just want to add just a tiny bit of it, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, and that's it. We're going to add a nice amount of salt. I would say this is probably about a tablespoon of salt. And I'm going to grind some black pepper in there. About maybe a half a teaspoon of black pepper. To that, we're going to add our green onions, and we're going to chop them up very, very finely, like little tiny discs. I don't know if you can see that, but that's about the size that you want it. And chop our green onions in there. And this adds a really nice flavor to the whole thing. What I do is I don't use the entire stem of the green onion. I take the top parts off and I just use the bottom parts, like about that much. Unless I'm growing them myself or I'm getting them very fresh from a farmer's market, I don't like the upper parts of them, so I just cut them off. And that's that. Okay, so I'm going to add 3 more, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what else we do. Okay, so to our zucchini and green onions, I'm going to add 1 egg. Keep in mind this is 2 zucchini, so anything after 3 zucchini or 3 zucchini and more, I would add 2 eggs. And to that, we're going to add about a cup of, this is what I use, Pamela's gluten-free baking mix. I like to keep it gluten-free for both Robert and I. So we're just going to stir this up and make sure that egg is all combined in there first. combine. Okay, and to that, I'm going to add a little less than a cup. I'm just going to hold maybe that much back. I don't want this to become too floury. I want the zucchini and the green onions to come through. So that is just about the right consistency. I'm just going to add a little bit more flour. So that was 2 large zucchinis and probably about 3/4 of a cup of flour. All right, and there we have it. So see that? All right, come on over to the stove and I'll show you how to cook them. All right, so to our pan, I added about 2 tablespoons of butter, and I greased the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to add peanut oil. And I'm just going to drizzle a little tiny bit of peanut oil on, probably about a tablespoon. I'm just going to move that all around, get the bottom nice and hot, and we're going to start cooking. So I have a serving size tablespoon, and I'm going to spoon those fritters in there. A bit more. And as this sits, this actually gets a little bit watery, so you don't want it to sit too long. Don't add the egg or the flour until you're ready to cook them. So I'm going to take a tablespoon size of our mixture, maybe a little bit more, and we're just going to make sort of like pancakes. And that's it. I'm going to add a little bit more to this one. And you can make these any size you want. You can make big ones, you can make small ones, whatever suits your fancy. Kids are actually going to love this because it's like eating breakfast for dinner. All right, and these are just going to cook until they get little bubbles on top. Once they get bubbles on top, we're going to flip them, do the other side, and they'll be ready to eat. So we'll be back. So these are starting to get little bubbles on top. I'm going to bring the camera down here and let you kind of see this up close. And they're also getting a little golden on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that or not, but so now I'm going to flip them. And you can smell them. They're actually smelling really good. So I'm just going to flip them. And I have on the stove, I have a very funky burner on the stove. And this is a burner that just, that part of it does really well, and this part slow to cook, whatever reason, we have no idea. I've had repairmen here, nobody could figure it out. So I just kind of deal with it, and I actually sometimes just rotate the pan so that they cook more evenly. So as soon as these are done, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test them like this, and when the top of it pops back up again, then I'm going to take them off, put them on a cooling rack, and we're going to put the cooling rack in the oven at 350 just for maybe about 5 minutes. Alrighty, so we're going to press the top in, and it's bouncing back. So we're going to take them off, and you can see that it's nice and golden on both sides. I'm just going to lay them on this rack. And this one's done. There's the timer. That means my rice is done. We're having jasmine rice tonight with these and steaks on the grill. So with these, because the burner is, I told you, kind of weird, I'm just going to flip these over once more and just let them cook and that good part a little bit more. So this way they're not too doughy. And I'm going to add the rest of my batter to the pan. Scooch that one over a little bit. Okay. And I think these are going to be done, so I'm going to take these off. And I'm going to rotate the pan this way so that they cook. There we go. And I'll show you what to do in the ending. All right, our zucchini fritters are done, and we're just going to pop them in the oven, 350 for about maybe 5 or 6 minutes. What this does is just firm them up a little bit. They might still be a little bit moist inside from not cooking all the way through, because I don't like to brown them too much in the pan. So just going to pop them in the oven, 350 for about maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and enjoy them. And there they go. And I apologize because if this video is a little bit crooked, I thought the camera was a little bit crooked for a little bit, so it might be a little off center. Sorry. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to take my zucchini out, my zucchini fritters, and please don't do this the way I'm doing it. I'm doing it with a dish towel. I should be doing it with oven gloves. But here you have them. Nice zucchini fritters, zucchini pancakes. So just to recap, that was 2 large zucchini. That was 3/4 of a cup of Pamela's gluten-free baking mix, 1 egg, salt and pepper to taste, 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. And that's it. Also, I forgot the scallions. About 6, I used 6 scallions, or green onions as you would call them. Okay, so welcome to our table. And here we have our New York strip steaks, some sauteed broccoli with garlic and oil, some brown rice, and white rice for me because I don't like brown rice, leftover cornbread, and our zucchini fritters. So that's it, everybody. Buona serata e buona mangiare tutti. Thank you. Stay with us. Hit the subscribe button for more wonderful, delicious recipes.